Alright guys, welcome to my playthrough of A Boy and His Blob. Now, first of all, full disclosure, I pre-recorded this footage, so I've already played the game. I'm not actually playing the game right now. I'm just kind of recording this commentary and everything after the fact. This way I can focus on providing commentary without having to worry about everything that's going on within the game. I really like this game. I thought that, with the exception of a few very extremely annoying portions, I mean extremely annoying, and I'm gonna definitely complain about a lot of them when they pop up, I think for the most part, this was a really, really good game. I played this originally on the Nintendo when I was like 5 or 6 years old. I didn't know what I was doing. However, thanks to the internet and walkthroughs and everything, I finally finished it many years later, and I had a lot of fun doing so. So the basic premise, you play a unnamed boy who has a blob for some unexplained reason. Don't know why. You just start. There's really no backstory here. You just start off and you got a blob. And you also have a whole bunch of jelly beans. Again, don't know why, but you got a whole bunch of jelly beans. And essentially what you have to do is kind of collect these treasures that you can find underground in the subway, and then you go to a nutrition store and exchange them for vitamins and things, and you'll eventually be able to fly to Blobalonia, I think, yeah, that's the name of it, Blobalonia, and defeat their, like, Blob King or dictator. So the controls are very, very simple. The Nintendo only had two main buttons. One button whistles, which allows your blob to come to you. The other button throws jelly beans. The start button pauses the game, the directional pads take you left and right, and the select button allows you to choose what jelly bean you're going to use. So as you can see, 52 punch jelly beans is on the screen, now 69 licorice jelly beans. So each jelly bean will turn the blob into something new. So the licorice jelly bean turns the blob into a ladder, which allows you to reach different areas. The punch jelly bean turns the blob into a hole, like a punch hole, that allows you to kind of fall through the ground. So the object early on here is to just go around and collect different treasures. And I am also kind of playing this on an emulator, not the NES, so you may see a lot of cuts here, and a lot of those cuts are just because I died. Now, some of the deaths I will actually keep in here, but there are a lot of sections in this game, two specific sections that I would say are brutally hard. Almost to the point where if you were not playing on an emulator, I wouldn't even recommend you try. Because there are a couple of treasures that are just, like, brutal. Now, you're going to notice me just randomly throwing jelly beans on the ground. That's because I kept getting the buttons mixed up. I couldn't remember. I filmed this footage over the course of several days, and I kept forgetting which button did what. Because there's two buttons. One calls the blob, the other one throws the jelly beans, and I just kept mixing them up back and forth. So I wasted a lot of jelly beans. There is a fixed amount of jelly beans, so if you waste too many, then that is a problem. But I don't think I ever came close to using them all. Right, so the vanilla jelly bean is an umbrella, you see there. And again, wonderful game overall. I thought it was a very, very fun game. I'm not even sure I used every single jelly bean over the course of this playthrough. So cinnamon is a blowtorch. I think that's the only time you need to use the blowtorch jelly bean. Alright, to get through this area, I believe I used the, let me see here, the umbrella, I think. Yep, here we go. Now, even though you have the umbrella, you can still get killed here. Like, if you move too fast and those jelly beans kind of... Like, if you walk into a jelly bean, or if you walk into, like I just did right there, you see that was a death. And it restarted me kind of back at the beginning here. So what'll happen is, if you die, it kind of restarts you back at a previous section. Sometimes it's far back, but most of the time it's relatively recent. Now, it is very easy to die in this game. That is one of the problems. If you knew what you were doing, I mean, if you really knew what you were doing and you were trying to speedrun this game, then you could probably do it in under a half hour. I think I managed to do this in about 45 minutes. I think that's how long this video will be, or around that. If you really, really, really knew what you were doing, you could probably get this done in a half hour. Because this is edited down to about 45 minutes. It actually took me over the course of several days to get this footage, because I would film a little bit, then I would stop, then I would film a little bit more. Alright, so you're going to need a bridge to get across, so you need to turn the blob into a bridge, and this bridge will allow you to walk across this gap and get the treasure. You have to stand kind of in the middle to avoid hitting, or to avoid this little snake-like creature from hitting you, though. If you rush this, you will die. You can't duck. It would really help. At least I don't think you can duck. I don't even know if I even tried it. I don't think you can duck in this game. I don't think pressing down actually ducks. Oh, and sometimes you can, if you fall to the ground, you can die. However, for some strange reason, sometimes you live, sometimes you don't. Like, I really don't know. Like, I have fallen from a lot of really high places in this game and survived, and then I've fallen from what I think are equally high places and died. So, like, it just seems like it's random. I'm sure there is probably, like, an exact, like, height requirement for living or dying, but I don't honestly know what it is. Alright, so you saw that treasure up there, that little diamond thing, so we're going to try to get that. So the tangerine jelly bean is actually a trampoline. So notice how the jelly beans kind of all have kind of a theme to them, like punch, punch hole, a hole, tangerine, trampoline. There is another one, the ketchup jelly bean, which allows the, if the blob falls far behind, it will catch up to you. So it's kind of clever. This game, when it came out, did win a lot of awards. However, like, some people like it, some people hate it. It's been made fun of a lot. I love it. Like, you know, it was a game I could never beat as a kid, but as an adult, it seems relatively simple for the most part. And this is me trying to figure out, like, how do I survive without falling? So I can turn the blob back into a human and then fall and it won't kill me. Alright, and you can see that little cut there. That's because I did die in this section here. You have to be really careful. There is no room for error. If you're not paying attention, you will die, you will mess up, you will have to restart. And you only get 5 lives. Right, you see how the blob is down there and I couldn't get him back up? And you can tell this is my first time playing this game. And that cut there was where I died and had to restart this section. It was just a bad editing job on my part. Alright, so there we go. So when you, if you want the blob to kind of come up with you, you want to make sure that you get the ladder so that the tip of the ladder is going into like another section of the game screen. You can see now it's going up into the next section. So when you whistle for the blob will come up the ladder with you. And you want to try to make sure that you always take the blob with you, like you see me constantly whistling, because they don't give you a lot of ketchup jelly beans, and you need those. There are certain areas in the game where if you want to try to get every single treasure in this game, you're going to need all the ketchup jelly beans. So you don't want to wander too far away from the blob or put yourself in a situation where the blob gets away from you. And you see where I fell through the floor right there? Alright, this bubble section here is the hardest section of the game. There is a certain treasure that you have to get that is brutally hard. And, it's really, I would say it's the most unfair part of this game, coming up soon. Alright, so you see right there where I died? Yeah, so the bubble will burst if you hit any one of those little pillars that are on the ceiling. Your bubble will actually burst. And you die. Alright, right here. That treasure down there is the hardest treasure to get in this entire game. You cannot just get over top of it and go directly down, because there is like this invisible current that is weaving back and forth. Now, you just saw me get that and I made it look easy. It took about 50 tries. I mean, it was brutal. In fact, I actually called it a night after I got that treasure. Like, that was one of the hardest sections of this game. I practiced that so much to make it look that easy. All right, so we're almost done with the subway area, which is about half the game. Half the game kind of takes place in the subway section. The other half takes place on the actual city of Babylonia. And it took me a very long time to get through that one section. Like, I feel like sometimes the hitboxes are really big. Like, just the slightest touch will kill you. But then other times you can run right through enemies and they won't even harm you. Like, it's really weird. And this section took me a while too because it kept hitting my head and I had to keep moving the trampoline into different positions until I found the right area. I've been told that if you have the Nintendo Power Guide to this particular level, it makes the game a lot easier. Because you can see everything. Apparently the Nintendo Power Guide to this game was a lot of help for people playing it. All right, now I have never in my life ever seen a trampoline that can actually, jump that high, but apparently this one can. And again, if you if he goes off of that trampoline path, he will actually fall and die. So you have to be very careful with that. Because, yeah, like, if he goes off that just slightly, he will die. You kind of saw where I just reset there. Alright, this was another very difficult section for me because you see how he's jumping kind of like back and forth. I believe he does change his path a little bit. So when you pick up the treasure... Okay, no, he doesn't. Yeah, this took me a long time to do. I had to time that just perfect in order to actually make that work. It was very difficult for me. Right, you see at the top there, TR2. That means we only have 2 more treasures left to get in this area, and then we are done. We're about halfway through the game, I think, around here. Another thing that I edited out here, when you use the bridge jelly bean, you have to be close to that gap. If you're far enough away, he'll turn into a square, but he won't go anywhere, and you'll just waste a jelly bean. Right, and again, you see you have to position the ladder close to that edge or through the bottom of it, or you're just gonna waste. Like I think I'm probably gonna waste another jelly bean. Oh no, I got it. Again, constantly throughout the game, you'll see me waste jelly beans because I'm trying to whistle or call the blob, and I hit the throw jelly bean button by mistake. Alright, so this is me finding out the ladder won't reach, having to use the trampoline. So once we get this treasure, we'll be down to just 1 treasure left now. Right, so now we have to use the ladder to get up to this next section. and this game's been going on now for about a half hour. And at this point, I've come close to actually mastering the controls and figuring out everything. It is designed to be played multiple times and experimented with. Like the people that made this game probably meant for you to spend like close to a month just trying to figure things out. Because without save states, you would die a lot in this game if you did not know what you were doing. If you attempted some kind of a blind playthrough like I was doing. Look at that trampoline, how it's just barely balancing on the corner of that map there. And this was a very tricky section because I kept trying to get over, and I kept dying. And eventually I got to a point where my head was hitting, and I couldn't get over far enough, so this was a very difficult section to actually kind of, like, get through. Like, I cut out a lot of attempts. Alright, I think I'm gonna use a ketchup jelly bean here. Yep. Yeah, sometimes if you don't throw the ketchup jelly bean near you, like if it goes off screen, the ketchup jelly bean will not work. Alright, and this should take us over to the last treasure of this area, and last treasure of the game, pretty much. So we are pretty much done with the Earth portion of this game. We're gonna go over to the vitamin store, and then we are gonna take a rocket to actually go to the Blob's planet at this point, Blobalonia. Right now, once you get to this screen, like, I was confused about what to do because it just got all that stuff just pops up there, but like, it's not like you're buying anything. I wasn't even sure, like, if I did something right, but I tried to go back into the health food store, and it wouldn't let me go back in, so I assumed that I did everything I needed to do there. Right, and this jelly bean is going to, I believe, turn him into a rocket, which is then going to take you to the planet of Blobalonia. All right, now I've read that there's multiple ways to get through this section of the game. Um, but I did it in a certain way, and I'm not sure what these things here actually are, but I collected them anyway. I don't know if you actually need them to kind of get through the game. Maybe somebody in the comments can figure it out. But I do know that there are, like, multiple ways once you get to this planet to kind of go through it. I kind of did it like a simple way there. You see that I died right there. I don't know if there's a way to actually do that section without, or that little area without actually dying. This section, very difficult. I cut out a ton of deaths. But this is actually like a run and gun kind of section. You'll get some kind of like vitamin blaster that you'll use to get through this section. Yeah, Vita Blaster. Alright, so I believe you can shoot these things. I tried to take a very slow approach. You will see me run through a couple of sections, and then you'll also see me, like, yeah, that was almost a death. But you see how, like, it looked like the thing actually hit me. Like, I managed to kind of, like, get through it somehow. Like, yeah, you'll see there, that was a death that I cut out. Like, this is a very hard section, and the patterns change each screen. Alright, and here's where you need the blaster. Okay, if any of these cherries hit the ground, if any of those cherry bombs hit the ground, it's an instant death. Even if you leave the screen and go to the next area. If that cherry bomb hits the ground and you go to the next area, you die. So you have to take all of them out. And you see, like, I literally ran into a cherry bomb there and it didn't kill me. So, like, the game kind of picks and chooses what kills you, it seems like. There's no consistency here. Alright, these things you can shoot, definitely. And it does get a little bit more difficult. And look, I ran right through that and it didn't kill me. I ran right through that and it did not kill me. Alright, so we've reached, I guess it's kind of weird. It transitioned from what looked like a neighborhood and a fire station or some kind of like old-fashioned building into what looks like the Death Star. I don't quite get that transition, but anyway, here we go. So now we're kind of like inside like the Blob King's lair, or the Blob King's kind of Death Star looking place. And we do have about 10 minutes left of the game at this point. For some reason, there's a candy cane up there. So you land on the candy cane, you walk across it, and there's like a little switch thing that turns off like those things that are dropping down, so that this way you can get through like the next section. If I understand why I could never beat this as a kid, because if you didn't know these secret areas, like you couldn't figure it out. You almost had to have the Nintendo Power Guide to be able to beat these games. And like, I've had people tell me that games like Final Fantasy and all these other like really intricate RPGs, they kind of built them with all these hidden secrets and everything because they wanted to sell the strategy guides. Because like the strategy guides were pretty much the only way that you could beat some of those games back then without driving yourself crazy. So I died there. Reset this section. I'll try it again. Yeah, the umbrella will keep you from doing fall damage. So we've deactivated the second area. We're getting closer to the end. Probably like 5 more minutes to go. Alright, so I use the ketchup jelly bean to get him up here. Then I can use the umbrella to drop down again. This is another section that I didn't die too many times on that section. You can just kind of do what I did there and like sprint across, and you should be like okay. This area here, there is like a little trick to it. There's all those little mothball creatures coming up out of the ground. So there's like a little witch's brew pot underground, and you have to kind of go through the floor at a very specific spot. And then you'll be able to kind of deactivate that little cauldron, that little witch's brew cauldron that's popping those things out. Alright, yep, there it is. So we've deactivated that. Safe. We'll go down here, and then we will jump back up. We're just about done. Right, and you see, you can just kind of like, if you time it right, you can just run right across. The gingerbread men won't hurt you, at least to my knowledge. All right, now you're going to use the lime jelly bean to turn him into a key. Key lime, get it? Key lime pie, key lime. So you'll use like a little lime jelly bean here. I accidentally turned him into a hole using the punch jelly bean, but you need to use the lime jelly bean here. Alright, now this took me forever. There is a trick to it. Alright, first thing you gotta do is wake up the Blob. So the Blob is... I don't know, how did the Blob get captured in the cage? He was just with us a second ago. How in the world did he just get captured? Alright, notice how the jelly bean will not reach the Blob. So I keep throwing the jelly bean, and the jelly bean's not reaching the Blob. You have to kind of run back and forth, and then you have to start throwing the jelly bean before you're even facing in the same direction as the Blob. and it'll turn him into an to a jack. So you throw the apple jelly bean, turns him into a jack. The jack hits the vitamins, kills the king, and that's it. It is like the most anticlimactic ending ever. And I don't even... Who is this? Like, that looks like the Michelin Man. But, like, that's it. Like, the ending of this game, like, just came... I was expecting so much more. Like, I was expecting this big epic celebration, but no, you get, like, a text screen that I forgot to even read. But you could, like, pause and rewind the video if you want to read it.